Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Wednesday Night Racing here at Slow Motion Broadcasting. We are excited to show you Sim Racers Group F4 Intermediate Racing here from the virtual track in Belgium of Zolder Circuit. This is week number 8 of the season. Last week we were at Oschersleben with dealing with some rain. Looks like the weather is a lot clearer this week, so we should be up for some good action. Tonight in the production booth, we got Adam Thompson joining me in the commentary booth. I have my good friend Daniel Hall. Daniel, last week was a lot of excitement, a lot of things going on that wet track. This week should not be any less exciting.
Yeah, a little bit drier, but I don't anticipate that putting any damper on the action. We're going to have plenty of action going on out here on a tight, technical, twisty track here at Zolder. So I think these F4 cars are going to be put on a good show, and really excited to get this one going.
Totally. It's going to be just under a 2.5 mile circuit. Track temp is going to be right around 65 degrees. So it should be a good, cool track for these guys to get running on. Humidity is going to be a little high from our main screen there of 91%, but there is no rain in sight. We'll jump over into the points right now. In our intermediate 1 class, Alex Velasco out in front with 106 points. Varun Bali in the second spot, just 5 points back. Then you got a little bit of a gap back to Josh Corwin in the third spot. Tyrone Da Silva in fourth with 72. And rounding out your top 5, the internet sensation, Danush Paborji. And not here tonight, so it's going to be a pretty dead class in dead chat in the YouTube probably tonight, but we'll have to see. Intermediate 2, Chris Wang leading the way with 118 points. Jose Navas in the second spot, 9 points back. Then you got a real big gap back to Rafael Cordenas with 63 points. Thomas Brashear with 56. Diego Posada just 1 point back with 55. Then in the intermediate alien class, Stephen Case running by himself with a whole 150 points maxed out. We are hoping to get some more intermediate alien class with him, give him a little bit of a fight, but we will see how the season progressed. We are in qualifying right now, just 2 minutes and 30 seconds down of this 15-minute qualifying session. Guys are starting to get around, get some track temp or tire temp in their tires, getting used to the track again. But Daniel, this is like we talked about, this is going to be definitely a little spicy of a race. This is open qualifying, so there are plenty of chances to get some draft, but it's also plenty of chances for some traffic out there.
Yeah, these guys are going to run into traffic the whole time. It's just going to be a matter of, can you catch the brakes when you need them to? Can you use it to your advantage, get the draft, and avoid what we just saw there, locking up into the chicanes? Those are going to be the problem spots tonight, and especially in this qualifying, trying to get a clean lap without someone right in your way. Maybe use that draft slingshot around them and get them into that corner and not lose too much time. We're going to start on board with Ope Oladipo here. Just a sec. And get a first-person view of what it's like to drive around this track. He's coming out of turn 8 through that last chicane, now through to turn 10. This will set him up for the front straightaway. It's going to be real critical to get the power down here, not spin the tires, not upset the car, not get over those curbs. Just carry as much speed as you can down into turn 1. The left-hander, kind of a sweeping corner. Careful not to go too wide like that. I think that's going to invalidate his lap, but we'll keep an eye on him through here. Is the 2-3 complex. It's kind of a sweeper. Looks like it's pretty flat out in these F4 cars. A little bit tighter F4 is going to be really tricky. You want to carry as much speed as possible because you got a long way down to the Klein chicane in turn 5. This is going to be really tight. Hard on the brakes. Quick left, quick right. Carry as much speed. Get out back to the outside there on the left side, and then back to the power through this long sweeping turn 6, and then this turn 7. This whole thing is called turn 7, but it's about 6 turns in itself. So very interesting section to try to get as much speed, and then back to a long straightaway again, but hard on the brakes into this tight hairpin, which is turn 8. And immediately into this little chicane kind of jog. It's going to lead you to a straightaway. As we see turn 10 up ahead, he's going to have some traffic in front of him. We'll see what that does with the draft, and if he has, maybe some effect there. Oh, and they keep wrecking in front of him, and now he's into the wall. Wow, that was
curse at its finest right there.
Yeah, that was. We just saw what happens when traffic goes wrong. So hopefully he can get a clean lap and get back out there and set a better time.
Yeah, that's about a 95% lap there with Ope Oladipo. And like you said, though, I mean, you can see this traffic coming up. He, trying to keep clean, but these curbs are not favorable for these F4 cars around here. There's definitely some large sausage curbs that will send these cars flying right through this chicane right here. If you get too much of these curbs, these cars will go flying. I know GT3s fly good, but the F4s are going to fly even better. So this is open qualifying. Everybody's chance to go 15 minutes of qualifying. Right now, fast car on the track is our Inter-Alien with Stephen Case with a 129.5. And that's about on pace with the practice session that was going on. But we've got Vroom Bali with a purple sector 3 trying to get in some lap time. He went yellow in his 4th sector, so we'll have to see how he's able to get through this chicane and down the front straight one more time. Vroom Bali trying to come across the line. He's got Stephen Case tucked in right behind him with a little bit of a draft. Vroom comes by with a 130 flat. Stephen with a time not any faster than his pole speed right now. In the 3rd spot right now overall is Chris Eggert. Chris with a great run last week, taking the win in Oostersleben in the Inter 1 class. So doing a great job getting out there, trying to set a good pace. Nobody really getting multiple fast sectors right now. Everybody's kind of doing one sector quicker than another. But we do have another. Who we got here? Joshua Corwin with some green coming around. Corwin going up into that 8th spot right now. Billy Campbell Peach with a couple green sectors as well, coming across the line right now. And let's see where that puts him in the 19th spot. So everybody's trying to getting a little separation right now and trying to get some heat in those tires. Serd Metro with going through that chicane, that might have invalidated his lap. It looks like he may have gone a little too tight in that chicane, Daniel, and it may have invalidated his lap.
Yeah, it's going to be really critical during qualifying. You got to get a clean lap in, or else your time's not going to count. During the race, you're going to have some incident points to play with, but you don't want to use up too many of those, especially early in the race. You might need those later. But as we see more cars come by through the smoke, that's gotta be disconcerting to do a qualifying run. We see a car kind of drive over and get some draft. I think that was Tyrone De Silva. He's gonna go up to 12th. Oh, that's going to be a spin for him. Announcer's curse strikes in turn 1, but he got his lap finished.
Yeah, so when these guys are coming through, we're not going to be able to really see if these guys are invalidated. But most of the time when they go something like that, that is an invalid lap. So anytime that these 4 tires remove themselves from the racing surface, is usually an invalid lap. So we'll have to be able to monitor that as they're going. But right now, you still got Stephen Case on the pole, still with that 129.5. Vroom Bali in the 2nd spot, about a half second back. Chris Eggert not too far back in 3rd. Alex Velasco in 4th. And the captain, rounding out your top 5 right now, Jason Cotcher in the 5th spot. Jason with 2 green sectors right now. Oh, but not anymore.
That's gonna put an end to that lap. He
and the next
spun
one,
in that last chicane. That's gonna really hurt his next lap too. Yeah,
that is the one bummer with making a mistake in that final chicane. You're blowing 2 laps right there, real quick. So he'll have to get going again as we're closing in on 10 minutes down and 5 minutes still left to go in qualifying. These guys are just trying to get their separation. I think this point. Early on, everybody seemed to want to try to get draft and get a little bit faster. But now it's crunch time. It's time to separate themselves and try to get a good hot lap in. We've got still 3 guys with no lap time in yet, so definitely got to get some lap times in and get going. And Eggert and Bali closing in now. Oh my goodness, look how close that is. You got Bali with a 130.085, Eggert with a 130.091. So 6 1,000ths of a second separating your second and third place cars right now.
That is tight. Those guys are going to be looking for any sort of little improvement over their next lap, and that's not going to help him as he has to come across Adam's favorite car, stop sideways across the track, the 44 of Diego Posada. He was spun out right at the apex of that corner, and that was not what he wanted to see coming through there. So we'll see if that hampers his lap time very much as Diego gets rolling again. That's going to be a trick. And as we close in on the end of this qualifying session, will these drivers be able to find clean laps and not be interrupted? We see the F1, they have teammates out there, and even they don't get it right all the time. I can't imagine trying to coordinate or deal with a competitor draft during a qualifying session like this.
Yeah, we've got 26 cars in the session, all running on the track right now. So traffic is aplenty right now. And we've got Alex Velasco with a purple sector and a green sector. We'll have to see if Alex can do something with it. He is closing around into the end of the lap right now. Alex in the 777 coming down the front straightaway, able to keep it clean, what it looks like right there, coming across the line. We'll have to see what his time is. Alex comes across with a 130.058. So you see Christopher Eggert, actually, we missed it, went a 129.7. So he's up into the second spot now, knocking Varun Bali down to third. Velasco up into fourth. He is only, like 0.03 of a second behind Velasco now. Jason Cotcher, about a 7 tenths back in that fifth spot. So good round top 5 right now. Everybody's doing good. But we're running in time now. We got about 2 minutes and 30 seconds left to go for these guys, as we are riding along with Jason Cotcher right now, the leader of SRG, owner and operator of SRG. He's got a spinning car out in front of him, but he's able to avoid it. Varun Bali had a purple sector 3, had 2 green sectors. That could have been a good lap for him, but now he's got 2 laps that are going to be invalidated. And it is going to be a rough move to get going with less than 2 minutes to go. He should be able to get by. Oh, man, getting a little spicy. Daniel, you and I were talking about in the pre-production, walked through here. We got Christopher Eggert actually dropping times down as he's coming down the front straightaway. 3 purple sectors last time by. He's coming down the straightaway this time by to come across the stripe. And his time right now, it's 129.2 to give him the pole. Stephen Case in the pits right now, and he is not going to have enough time to get another lap in. So Christopher Eggert taking over the pole right now, Daniel.
Yeah, that was a flying lap from Chris right there. That's going to set him up really nicely. We might see a couple competitors. Varun Bali's definitely shown some speed. We'll see if he can improve enough to get up there as we ride along with Ope Oladipo. He is sitting in 8th place. This is his debut race, so he's showing out pretty good for his first time. He might not last an inning or two very long if he keeps up runs like this. So we'll see how he comes around.
Yeah, doing a good job out there in nice bright yellow and black. Car number 23 got a little bit of Lamborghini-esque paint scheme on it. Looking good as we are closing in with less than 1 minute to go. Eggert still on pole. Stephen Case in second and Varun Bali in third. Daniel, during pre-production, we were kind of talking about this first sector, and I really haven't seen a whole lot of issues with everybody, but unless you go side by side like that. But
yeah,
the first sector is it's such a high-speed section that I think it's really going to lead to some crazy action for these guys tonight.
Yeah, you're really leaning on the grip of the car through there. In the first corner, you're just kind of sending it in there, and then the double apex right-hand section as we see Ope come around. What is his time going to be? That jumps him up into third place, 130.263. He stopped, but I think that's the end of qualifying. So Uh, right there at the end, he got quite an improvement. He's up to fifth now. So we pick up with Neil Day now. He's coming through, heading to turn 8, the hairpin. It's going to set him up for a run down toward the line as we end up and finish this qualifying session. We'll see what he comes around with. He's got a green third sector, so he's improving a little bit. Let's see if he can't get up from his 24th spot currently. 1:35.0 is his time. We'll see what he comes around with. Just about to cross the line. Doesn't look like he improved. Nope, 1:35.2. So he his last lap was not an improvement. So he'll stay in 24th. He's going to have some work to do in this race.
Last couple cars still coming across the line to complete the final lap. We are closing in, but it looks like our pole sitter is going to be Chris Eggert. So great lap from him, able to snip off the alien there of Stephen Case, but Stephen is not far back with about 0.3 of a second back. So last couple cars coming across to complete our timing and do a little dry run on into pit lane. Even though these guys aren't going to be using it with a short 20-minute sprint race, these guys are not going to need any pit stops at all. So as we watch Alex Velasco come in, kind of cruise in through pit stop, do a little trophy presentation there. I think he's getting ready to collect that trophy and bring it home later, shower that champagne at the end of the night. Paul Mirchek, green sector 4, not able to improve. So looks like we are wrapping up our final car right now of Igor Grunsky in the number 3 coming across down the front straightaway. He is on an outlap, so he's not going to count. So this should wrap it up. Yep. That is everybody as we are waiting for our grid to get lined up. It's going to be an exciting day, exciting race here at Zolder. Here is our qualifying results. On the pole, as we talked about, Christopher Eggert with a 129.2. Stephen Case in that second spot, joining him on the front row. Then you got Varun Bali in row 2. Next to him, Alex Velasco. In the 5th spot, your first Inter 2 guy, Ope Oladipo, in the lead of that interclass there. Joining him on the outside of row number 3 is Jason Cotcher with Thomas Brashear in the 4th row. Kalen Michaelwitz sitting in that 8th spot. 9th spot goes to Joshua Corwin. Rafael Cardenas in the 10th spot. Then you got Daniel Levy in the 11th spot. Tyrone De Silva in 12th. 13th is going to go to Jose Navas. Adam Duvall in 14th. 15th, Kukaran Dillon. Serge Metral 16th, and we will see Billy Campbell in 17th, Diego Posada in 18th. As we're starting to get gridded up, we see the rest of the field there lined up on the order. On the back spot, Rodolfo Samudo in the 26th spot. 26 cars, Daniel. This is going to be an exciting section. This going down into that first turn is definitely going to be quite spicy. So we'll have to see how these guys do. Remember, it is a standing start for these guys. Last couple cars are getting gridded up right now as we watch down the front straightaway for the final car to get gridded. Waiting for those magical lights. We shall see. Waiting for Diego to get reset into his spot. Looks like we are gridding up now. Here comes our lights right now. 5 lights about to go on. 3, 4, 5, and the green flag is out. We are racing at Zolder. Everybody getting spread out real wide, going about 3, 4 wide, but we want to really narrow it down. Christopher Eggert leading them into turn 1, and so far, no harm, no foul. Looks like everybody getting through 2 and 3 wide through turn 1. Haven't heard any tires really squealing away. Here comes Stephen Case on the inside of Eggert coming around turn 3 right now. Battle for the lead already as we're coming around into that next section. Everybody's trying to find their way through. Everybody's working their way around. Everybody pretty clean. A little bit of dust, a little bit of dirt coming around, but it looks like Eggert still leading them around with Stephen Case in that second spot. Oh, big carnage right there. Daniel coming off.
Yeah, that was a 13. That was Adam Duvall. He was the first one we saw, but there were a couple others that joined in on that. And I'm wondering if our leaders didn't have an issue because they're also falling down as we see more smoke up in front. Oh, that's big junk right there. That red car, I think the 069 Diego Posada. Oh man, 4 cars straight into the wall, into the tire barrier. The 41 upside down on his halo. I guess they don't really have roofs, so he's gonna have to take a tow back to the pits. So see Daniel Lubivi, he is way behind this pack now. He was very much a part of that carnage. We're gonna get a replay here. We already see cars flipping. We got a car spun around, and that was Dubivi, and Ken gets Glasser. He gets involved in that one. As we see a little bit earlier in that wreck, it looks like Diego Posada has to go wide. 69 also going wide. Man, just absolute carnage. We got a clean start, but about halfway through that lap, it really went haywire for a lot of drivers. Yeah, there's Diego Posada getting into Daniel Lubivi, and a couple other cars collected.
Posada went for a field trip off the track there, and hopefully he's able to get reset, but he's currently not on the track. But Stephen Case taking over the lead, but we did lose our pole sitter. Where did our pole sitter go? Back into the 8th spot. Chris Egger dropping back. Not quite sure what happened, but we were coming up with some action right here. Picks up a freebie right there as he moves up a spot. But Egger, your early pole sitter, dropping back 7 spots into the 8th spot. As we kind of go on board now through that first chicane. And we talked about it. We talked about that those sausage curbs, and that was the casualty for Chris Eggert right there. Daniel is trying to get through that chicane and cutting it just a little too close.
Yeah, got too much curb, launched him up into the air, and hard to make the corner with no traction with the wheels aren't on the ground. So I think he collected Alex Velasco in that too, unfortunately. Just some chaos on the start. But imagine that Stephen Case up into the lead right off the bat, just like we were seeing him. But he is getting pressured by Ope Oladipo, an Inter 2 driver. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Ope new to this racing league, so we'll see how the experienced drivers take to the new driver, kind of infiltrating their territory, and Stephen Case feeling the pressure already.
Well, if Ope's not too careful, he may become an Inter 1 driver really quick. So we'll have to see how that works out. But right now you got Stephen Case out in front, and then our Inter 2 leader right behind him, Ope Oladipo. And then Eggert, just going from bad to worse, and he is all the way down to the 23rd spot, doing that Austin Powers 14-point turnaround. And Daniel, we were talking about this section right here. This is where it's really fast, and you really got to watch yourself. And it looks like Eggert just got a tire off the track and almost spun out there.
Yeah, just went a little bit wide, and that upset the car as he kind of kicked out on him, and as soon as he got back onto the pavement, it found some grip and sent him spinning the other way. So these cars are really on edge, it seems, and any little curb hit or anything getting off into the dirt and the gravel really upsets these cars to a point where you gotta have some quick hands to try to save it.
Oh man, all sorts of carnage. It is a yard sale coming through that last chicane right there, and as you see the timing screen, the timing tower is just going up and down, and just everybody's jumping all over the place. So it has been a pretty sheer chaos race right now, as we're just barely 5 minutes in. We still have 15 minutes of action still to go. Stephen Case still leading the way. He's got about a full second now on Ope Oladipo. And then, cars everywhere. We talked about traffic in the run up, Daniel, about just the traffic on the race, but we were talking about driving traffic and traffic that's running at the same time. We didn't even think about the carnage traffic that's about this track.
Yeah, qualifying, everyone seemed to keep the cars going relatively straight for the most part, but as soon as the intensity of the race ramps up, oh man, these drivers are starting to feel the pressure, and I think it's resulting in quite a few mistakes. Stephen Case now trying to stretch his lead a little bit. He's up to 1.6, 1.7 seconds now over Ope Oladipo. So he's starting to build that lead, but we'll see if he can hold on to it. He seems to pull away and then maybe plays with his competition a little bit and sucks him back in, and just likes to mess with them a little bit. And as we see the gravel kick up, so many cars have gone off there that the racing line is coated with the gravel still. So that's something these drivers are going to have to deal with, a new feature in iRacing this season. Gravel, and it's really going to change your grip level through there until those marbles and everything get blown off the track a little bit. So that's another one of these changing conditions that the drivers are going to have to anticipate and be able to deal with. And I wonder if that's not maybe causing some of our issues where the drivers knew in practice and qualifying that the track's going to be in a certain state, and we get to the race and dealing with other cars and dealing with some of the stuff they bring along really changes how the race plays out.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's one of the topics that I brought up earlier, is that whole first section is surrounded by rocks so much and marbles that is definitely going to lead into having some difficulties with trying to get through those high-speed sections. As we see a great three-way battle right now for that fourth, fifth, and sixth spot with Joshua Corwin, Jason Cotcher, and Thomas Brashear. We're on board right now with Joshua Corwin in the 037, leading him through that final chicane as you're looking back at the captain in the 422, rounding in that fifth spot. Thomas Brashear in the sixth spot right behind them. So three-way battle right now, separated by about 0.3 of a second. As you see, Brashear getting really hairy through that first section. And Daniel, we were just talking about that. And did that those rocks play into that factor right there where he had to go back and recollect the car as he started to lose it?
Yeah, and that cost him a couple spots. And if he's not careful, he's going to lose even more time. I think he's almost out of draft range now of those two drivers that he was battling with. So I think that battle was going on, and it might start to stretch away into a two-car battle now with Jason Cotcher and Thomas Brashear.
Yeah, so Jason getting a freebie there, putting him up into that fourth spot right now. So the captain is in fourth, but man, you've got Thomas Brashear in the all red car number one, right on that back wing as he is tucked in for some draft. As they're coming through this section right here, it's going to be hard under braking here into that next chicane. As you see Brashear closing in around that hairpin now, as they're coming into that last final hairpin into the last section now. As you see him tucked in, nose to tail, Thomas Brashear right behind Jason, hard under braking into that chicane down the front straightaway. Brashear closing that gap. As they come down the front straightaway, you've got Cotcher that comes by the stripe, comes across with a 131 flat, but Brashear with a 130.7. So about 0.4 quicker, really closing that gap on him. But back out in front, you still got Stephen Case. We can run through a whole race order right here as we're closing in on that midpoint right now. So Stephen Case leading him around in that 243. In the second spot now, Varun Bali getting by Ope. So Varun Bali up into second. In the third spot now is your Inter 2 leader, Ope Oladipo, the newbie coming up there, running in third overall. Then you got the captain, Jason Cotcher, in fourth. Fifth spot right now is Thomas Brashear, tucked in behind his wing. Then you've got Joshua Corwin in the sixth spot after that little mistake he made earlier. Then we'll drop back into that seventh spot. We've got Tyrone De Silva kind of running by himself right now. Got a clean track ahead and behind him. Dropping back into that eighth spot, we've got Kalen Mikowicz in the 888. Right behind him is Rafael Cardenas in the 92 car. Then you got a little bit of a gap back to Alex Velasco, rounding out that top 10. In the 11th spot, Kukaran Dillon in the 24. Right behind him is car number 4 of Jose Navas. And then you've got the 13th spot. Lucky 13 for Billy Campbell running right now. Billy did a great job last week, and we'll have a nice little interview with him after we're done today. In the 14th spot, car number 13 of Adam Duvall check that in the 14th spot. Nope, yeah, that's correct. 14th is Adam Duvall. Running with him though was Diego Posada, 1 lap down. In the 15th spot, your early pole sitter Chris Eggert, dropping all the way down into that 15th spot. Then going back a little bit farther, the 93 car of Embriette Hyde, rounded in the 16th spot, up 7 positions. In the 17th spot is Tyler Hagan in car number 99. Not too far behind Tyler is Ryan Shea in the car number 9 in the 18th spot. 19th spot, Serge Metrol in the number 45 car, drop back just a little bit. And then you got Igor Gru in the 20th spot in car number 3 as he's coming down the front straight one more time. In the 21st spot, Rudy Samudio in the 34 car. Right behind him, tucked in, is that 41 car of Ken Glasser, was 1 lap down. Neil Day in the 22nd spot, kind of in no man's land there, running by himself. Behind him is the 55 car of Paul Mirchek in the 23rd spot. And then you got Diego Posada 1 lap down in the 24th. Ken Glasser in the 25th spot, a little ways behind him. And then Daniel Luby in the 26th spot. Looks like he has disconnected now. So that is the running field right now. Run through in about 2 minutes. Not too shabby. Daniel, everybody's kind of getting settled in right now. Looks like it's not too much action going on, but we still have a good battle right here for that 5th and 6th spot.
Yeah, Thomas Brashear and having to fight off Tyrone De Silva. Tyrone's going to force it up the outside, almost getting into the wall. Not very much space there, but Tyrone going to have the lead, and that's going to not hold through turn 1. Thomas Brashear is going to get him back. We'll see if Tyrone can regroup and make another move on that. But this battle now, Jose Navas and Kukaran Dillon, they're side by side through turn 1. We'll see as Jose's trying to set him up, goes wide. He's going to cut in under through turn 2. Gonna have the spot in turn 3. We'll see if Kukaran can do anything about getting a run out of this turn 4 complex and down the long straightaway into the chicane. But if they're not careful, they're going to allow Billy Campbell Peach to close up and maybe make another move as they're hard on the brakes. Yeah, you can see in the mirrors Billy Campbell Peach right behind them. So this nice little 3-car battle here for 11th. We're on board with Billy now. Into this chicane, hard on the brakes. Kukaran locks him up. Little tire smoke out of there. We got a car wide. That is Kalen Mikowitz, I believe. So that's going to allow each of those guys to pick up a spot now as Kalen falls back to 13th. So freebie for 3 of those cars and maybe have a 4-car battle here for that 11th spot.
Yeah, that's a tough break for Kalen, but hopefully he's able to work his way back in with that group as you get off track 1 little spot and you lose 4 spots. So that's a tough break for him, dropping back into that 13th spot. But Billy Campbell Peach running in that 12th spot in that all-black car number 95, trying to make some moves. As we're speaking of moves, we've got Thomas Brashear closing in the back of Rafael Cardenas. Brashear earlier on was way up there with Jason Cotcher, dropping back after a little mistake, and that's going to put him back into that 9th spot. So he's trying to work his way back up. But that is a battle for that Inter 2 class. That is a battle for the 2nd place in Inter 2. Each division does have its own points. So no matter where you're at on the finishing order, as Thomas Brashear spinning out. We talked about those sausage curbs. You definitely do not want to touch those things coming through that chicane.
That was close, too, with drivers coming around that chicane. Thomas left him just enough space, but you'd really like to see him stay a little bit tighter when he gets back on the track. And that's going to cause contact. He's going to get into Billy Campbell Peach. And that's going to allow Kalen Mikowitz to get by Billy there. Now it's going to be a really tight battle here for the 11th. Thomas Brashear leading this group of Kalen Mikowitz and Billy Campbell Peach. So we'll see if they can maybe calm down a little bit, regroup after some really intense moments there, and maybe try to run down the 2 groups, the 2-car group in front of them. Get back into the podium battle for this Inter 2 class.
And that was a good example watching that interaction there. And what this is a no damage league. So as the cars do touch, they rip off the wing, they rip off the nose. It magically grows back and makes them ready to go again. But this is an intermediate class race league. And guys are still learning their racecraft, learning their spacing awareness while they're on the race. And there are going to be some tangles, there are going to be some tumbles, but these guys are all learning about racing craft. As we're up board right now with Stephen Case leading around in that 243, our Alien, he is our fastest car out there. And Daniel, he's already opened up to a 6-second advantage.
Yeah, he's really put his head down and started to pull away from Varun Bali in second place. But as we look back on this battle, Kulkaran Dillon and Joshua Corwin, they are really racing tight. And actually, that's Jose Navas and Kulkaran Dillon battling there with Josh Corwin lurking just behind them, waiting for them to make a mistake. And we've already seen plenty of those, so it's not necessarily a bad thing to be in third, but he's got to be careful because Thomas Brashear is on his way. It's about to be a 4-car, maybe a 6-car battle now as this race is winding down. 3 minutes to go, and I don't think this race is cooling off at all.
No, absolutely not. That's like you said, this is a 6-car battle right here for 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th. So just a tight battle for these guys all running together. Actually, that's about a 5-car battle because Diego's back there. He is 1 lap down to your field. But it's still going to be a great battle. Everybody kind of going at it. We do have a good mix of class on the tower on the left side. You see the red car number 1, space number 1. That is Stephen Case leading them around in our inter-alien class. And then space number 2, that nice little blue marker next to Varun Bali. He is our inter-1 leader. And then that nice little orange clip is Ole Opadipo in leading our inter-2 class. So 3 different classes racing with us today. 3 different ability levels. And we are really getting good right now as we're closing in with 2 minutes left to go. As we are watching Christopher Eggert right now in the 222, closing in on Kalen Michaelwitz in the 888 as they're coming through that chicane. Eggert all over that back wing, trying to work his way back up. Eggert was our early pole sitter, had a little mistake through that second chicane on lap 1, dropped him way back on the field, trying to do a recovery drive right now, trying to work his way back up, but not able to make a move on Kalen. Goes on that high-low move through that last chicane there, down the straightaway, kind of getting a little bit of a draft. Here comes that final chicane right now. This is a battle for 12th and 13th. Christopher goes on the inside, tries to get a good run out coming off that chicane, has a good run right now, but he does have that outside position. Not sure if he's going to be able to make that outside move around Kalen as Kalen's got that inside line as they go side by side into turn 1. Eggert able to hold on to that line, and it's going to take over that 12th spot while Kalen goes back to 13th. As we got a car off the track up there. Oh. Thomas Brashear off the track as we change up into the 9th spot right now. Kulkaran Dillon in the 24 in the 9th spot, closing in on Jose Navas as they're coming down that straightaway. You see a little bit of draft, trying to get that inside line into the chicane here. Here comes Dillon trying to get, locks him up a little bit, Daniel. He is trying to make some moves, but 30 seconds to go. It is time to make a move.
Man, the intensity is ramped up. These drivers are going to pull out all of the stops to try to get their moves done. Stephen Case coming across the line. That should be the white flag. Is there 2 laps to go now? As there's 15 seconds shown on the clock. So he's still pulled out now up to almost a 10-second lead. So he will be able to just kind of keep it calm, keep the tires under him, and bring this one home. As we are on board with Rafael Cardenas now. He is in 7th, but more importantly, 2nd place in Inter 2. So he's on pace for a podium here, kind of by himself, really. Nobody really all that close, either in front or behind. So nice, clean race for him. But this battle is really intense. Josh Corwin now. Oh, and just as we say something, the announcer's curse strikes. Josh Corwin, we flipped right to him, and oh man, that's been the kiss of death recently. As we see this battle heat up, that's Kulkaran Dillon looking for an outside move, maybe trying to hold the momentum and get by Jose Navas. They're going to tuck under that wing. Oh, he jumps out. That was close. He's going to have the inside lane into this chicane. Will he be able to make the move stick? Oh, he's got to take a lot of curb. As we see Chris Eggert right behind, he also takes some curb. He's going to be right behind these guys. He's going to have to try to make a move. But as we cross the line, you just saw Stephen Case. He took the lead, took the win. Checker flag was out. So these guys are going to be racing back to the line. 4 cars you can cover with a blanket. That's going to be Chris Eggert and Kalen Mikowitz battling for Inter 2 or Inter 1 position. As we see Kulkaran, man, they're side by side out of that corner now.
You got 2 guys going with Inter 2s. You got 2 guys with Inter 1s going into this final chicane. This is still anybody's race right now. Jose Navas trying to hang on to that 8th spot. Kulkaran Dillon hanging on to 9th as they're coming in right behind him. Christopher Eggert trying to work his way back up, able to hang on to that 10th spot, not getting enough runoff there, but that is going to lock it up. So good battle with those guys as everybody else is coming across the line. That was a lot of action coming here at the closing minutes. As last few cars, Billy Campbell Peach coming across in that 14th spot. And you've got Adam Duvall coming across in 15th in car number 13. Got a couple more cars still to come across. And here they come around with car number 3. That is Igor Grunsky in car number 3. Tucked in behind him is at 44, Diego Posada with just a brutal start to the race for Diego. He ended up off the track on the start, and that's why he ended up a full lap behind these guys as we've got the last couple cars coming across, and that will be the final car crossing the line with Serge Metrol in the 45, finishing in the 19th spot. So as we get the calculations done, here is our final results from the race. Taking the win, our alien, Stephen Case, in the 2nd spot is our Inter 1 driver of Varun Bali, taking the win in Inter 1. Taking the win in Inter 2, Ope Oladipo. Then you got in the 4th spot overall, Jason Cotcher, doing a great showing for him. I think that is his best finish so far. Tyrone Da Silva rounding out your top 5. Then you got in the 6th spot, Alex Velasco. 7th spot, Rafael Cardenas. Jose Navas finishing in the 8th spot. Kulkaran Dillon finishing in 9th. And in the 10th spot, Christopher Eggert. 11th spot goes to Kalen Mikowitz. 12th goes to Thomas Bashir. Joshua Corman in 13th. Billy Campbell Peach running out in the 14th spot. Adam Duvall in 15th. Then you got Igor Grunsky in 16th. 17th goes to Embriette Hyde in the 18th spot. We've got Ryan Shia with Serge Metrol in 19th. Tyler Hagan in 20th. Neil Day in the 21st. Paul Mirchek in 22nd. Rodolfo Samudio in the 23rd spot. Diego Posada, we talked about, has his tough start to him in the 24th spot. Ken Glasser in 25th. And Daniel Lubivi in the 26th spot, disconnecting from the race. So we've got a couple guys that we're going to be doing interviews with, and we will pull in our first interview right now. And we'll go with Mr. Adam Duvall. Adam Duvall is going to join us in the broadcast booth. Adam, welcome in. And looks like last week, your former in-house participant, but you are currently doing this at home now. You started off with SRG in the shop, but now you're doing it from home. And just kind of tell us how this race went. This looked like a pretty chaotic start.
So I've actually been at home for like 9-10 months, something like that. But yeah, I felt like I was going to have a good race, good practice. Couldn't get a quali lap in, traffic, whatever. So I wasn't too worried about it. And then into turn 5 on lap 1, I got rear-ended. Sent me backwards in the dirt, hopped back on, drove back. Not too bad, but yeah, it was pretty chaotic.
Yeah, it was about halfway through the first lap. It got pretty crazy right there in the mid pack. Did you get tied up with anybody with that, or were you able to get through that pretty clean?
Yeah, K, number 24, Colcran, he is the one that rear-ended me into 5, and I had some other close calls, but for the most part, like, this group is, like, very respectful, so I'm not normally too worried about it, but lap 1 is always, you never know.
Yeah, you never know. And this is a pretty short track for these guys, with a minute 20, minute 30-second laps. And there was a lot of traffic. We were talking about traffic, but Daniel and I didn't take into effect all the static traffic. Did you have any real close battles with, or, close calls with anybody being spun out or off track, or were you able to get through pretty cleanly?
Uh, I feel like I got through pretty cleanly after lap one. There was a couple maybe like kind of close, but nothing where I was like, "Oh my goodness, I just made it out of that alive."
Well, you finished in the 15th spot. You went down one spot from qualifying. Not too shabby. We've got some more races coming up this season. Do you got any of the tracks that are kind of highlighted for you, or do you still pretty confident with the rest of the circuit? We got Brands Hatch. We've got can't quite see what it is. We got Barcelona. Any of those tracks got a bullseye for you on being a good running one for you?
I don't know if I'd say a bullseye, but I do like Barcelona. That's a real good one. Is that no chicane? I think that's no chicane historic. That'll be fun. That's going to be a great. That track is like a little bit of everything, so that's always fun in the F4s. What else we got on the schedule here? Brands Hatch, Navarra, Saxon Ring. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with any of these tracks, so I'm just going to be fighting and digging it out for the end of the season.
Be winging it the rest of the season. So, Adam, while we got you up here in the main booth, do you want to give any shout outs or thanks to anybody while you're up here?
Obviously, thanks to Jason for providing this league. It's so much fun. It's better than officials because everyone is so respectful. We know each other. We've met each other. So obviously, shout out to him. And then Billy, you may be interviewing him soon. He's one of my good buddies. He's a groomsman in my wedding. He's also a coworker. So make sure you ask him or you say, "Hey, you got real lucky with Adam being taken out for me."
All right, we'll be sure to do that, Adam. Good job today, and we look forward to seeing you the rest of the season.
Thanks, man. Good
Thank
talking.
you. You too. And that was Adam Duvall joining us in the booth. Daniel, I think we got your next one lined up for you.
Yeah, I got Billy Campbell Peach here in the booth. Billy, winning last week in your class, and were you able to carry that momentum a little bit into this week?
If you asked me at the start of the race, I would have said yes, but at the end, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, it kind of wore off a little bit. We saw it. It looked pretty chaotic out there. Is that what happened? Just kind of get caught up in that chaos?
Yeah, I think it's first time we had a full grid again recently, 24 cars on the track or something like that, so that can be pretty hectic. First couple of laps is definitely survive, but that makes it fun, From that, if you make it through, you stay clean and you should place pretty well. So
yeah, just about the time we were saying good things about how clean the start was, it all kind of devolved into a wreck fest there for a little bit there. So, but good to see you're able to recover a little bit and get back out there. We do have to send a message or give you a message. Your buddy Adam said you got a little bit lucky there with your finish position relative to him since he got taken out. So just wanted to offer you a chance to rebuttal a little bit. Maybe?
I will just say let Adam check the scorecard at the end of the season, and we'll see how we're doing. I mean, considering I'm only 12 points off of him, and I've raced only one race of the season, this will be the second one. So that's for you, Adam.
Ouch! Shots fired.
Yeah, check the scoreboard. It's definitely a season-long championship. So good to see you're hoping for some consistency there. Any races you're looking forward to that are left on the schedule?
Anyone that I'm going to beat Adam in. So no, honestly, all of them. I think that the league itself is great. There's always competitive racing like throughout the different skill levels on the grid. So every race is exciting.
Well, that's great, man. Anybody you want to give a thanks to or shout out here while you got
I'll shout out the teammate K placing 9th today overall, puts points on the board for us. Yeah, teamwork makes the dream work, bro.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So good luck, and
Thank you,
hopefully
fellas.
see you on some more podiums here. Finish off the season.
Appreciate it.
And that was Billy Campbell Peach. He's going to be passing off the headset, and I believe we are going to have the captain join us here shortly, Jason Cotcher, when he gets his headset back on.
Hi, guys.
There he is, Jason Cotcher, finishing in the 4th spot tonight. Jason, that seemed to be a pretty good race for you tonight.
Yeah, it's as Billy said, and we noticed from previously, this season seems to be the high speed into the slow speed, and that's just naturally confrontational. Think Thruxton, think Monza, Zolder here, and then Brands Hatch next week. They're all flyers, and that just makes the margin of error so small. But yeah, when if you get lucky and fast guys in front of you take each other out and you're not involved, you can pick up a couple of spots. From there, I was pretty much cruise control. So yeah, I've been running around 5, 6, 7, pop up to 4th place. Had a little mini duel with my sparring partner Josh there. I'm sure y'all caught that, but hopefully it was dramatic and had some action for you guys, something to shout about.
Yeah, there was definitely some good action, and we did notice you get a couple freebies there and put you up into that 4th spot. So that was a good run from you. A good showing also from Ope Oladipo, our first time in the Inter 2 class, and was able to put it ahead of you in 3rd overall. Ope laying it down pretty good and finishing 3rd overall. Is any chance of him maybe getting bumped up to Inter 1, or are we looking at keeping him in 2?
No, automatic. I am the bottom of Inter 1. If you're in and amongst it around me, then you're Inter 1. Yeah, he's just come in off of a referral from another guy in the league, and it's the biggest compliment in the world. When friends tell friends, that means you got something good going on. So we certainly appreciate that, and a shout out to him. And his I don't know, his I rating was a little bit sleeper on me. He's like, oh, pretty good, whatever. He's like 1.8 or something like that. He drove, it was lap 2, and in my head, done. You're Inter 1, bro. You don't get to pop in as a college kid and beat up on the middle school kids. We don't do that here. So congrats to him. It was a great run, and we got a new kid in I1.
I was gonna say, he looked like he was going to be competing for Inter Alien at some point early in that race. He was putting it to Stephen Case.
Yeah, I got to promote some of these guys out of Inter 1. That's going to help my final standings too. The ego can't just keep getting beaten down week after week. And I got the hammer on the admin controls here, so it's going to be advantageous for me eventually. But I joke, I kid, I love racing these guys, and I want it to be competitive for everybody. If you come in with not a whole ton of experience, we got the rookie league for you. You get into Inter 2, you got guys to race with, you beat, and girls, and you beat them and you build speed and you build skill set. We put you in Inter 1, and you beat up on me, you go to Inter Alien. So we're gonna get Stephen Case some company here pretty soon.
Jason, I do have a question here, and by the way, hi guys, this is the first time you guys have heard me tonight, but so there's a league that's not broadcasted on SMB that comes up right about now, right after your intermediate league. And do any of those guys that run in this one, AKA a Stephen Case or somebody like that, the super fast guys, is that kind of where you try to push them after they can get through this intermediate league?
Yeah, absolutely. We run the Toyota Super Formula 23. No classes there. That's our F1, damage on, super fast. And so to go from Formula 4 to F4 in sort of an interclass war there, and then into the Super Formula, there's a whole ladder series to climb here within SRG. So yeah, shout out to those guys, and it's the top half. It's Inter 1 basically, and it's open to anybody. I'm not gatekeeping it. Damage on tends to police it pretty quick. If car gets away from you and you smack the wall, there's a fast repair, but your result is over. So, and we'll get that broadcasted. That's next target for you guys. There's usually about 8 to 10 drivers in that, so it doesn't quite make the show, but we're building, we're growing, and this is definitely on the radar for slow motion broadcasting in the next maybe a couple of seasons, maybe end of 25, something like that. We'll see. Like I said, I got to get a little car count going there, but it whets the appetite, and it gives drivers something to shoot for. So that's what we're all about.
Well, here's the one thing I can tell you: there is a league right now on slow motion broadcasting known as the Ray Esports Weekend Warriors Formula V Series, and before the Formula V Series started getting broadcasted, they were sitting at about 15 to 20 drivers, but it was some of the best racing I've ever seen. Now, they're getting about 40 car fields. So, just saying, Jason, you never know. Maybe the broadcast will bring some people in.
Yeah, that would be. I'll pass that word along. I'll be honest with you guys. Every time I drive the Formula V, I promise myself I will never put myself through that sort of suffering ever again.
And you do it again.
And then I do it again. Yeah, no, it's the same thing when I go bowling. Every time I go bowling, I promise myself it's the last time, every single time. But no, full marks. We have a laugh about the V. It's kind of like sailboat racing.
Oh,
it's not the intensity by velocity. It's the intensity by proximity, and it is usually exceptional racing. So I kid, I knock it, I respect it, and I would probably get smoked in that league. But I'll bring it up.
Let's be
I'll
honest.
bring it up to the kids.
I'm pretty sure sailboats have more power than a Formula V. Michelle Lynn, I hope you don't listen to this broadcast.
I didn't say it. He did.
Mm-hmm.
And that he was Adam. So, yeah.
Let's put labels where labels are due. Yeah.
Right. All right, Adam, go back in your hole.
All right. Goodbye.
All right. So, Jason, while we got you up here, you want to give a shout out or thanks to anybody tonight before we send you on your way?
I mean, always the SRG community. That's what it's all about. It's fun, regardless of the result, to forget about the real world for a while. So much to be concerned about in recent days from my take, and so just to kind of forget about that for a half an hour and have a laugh with a friend and slap on the back. Wherever you are on the spectrum, it's confrontational times, and it's a load off of your mind just to forget about it for a while. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. If you got a rig at home and you watch this broadcast, hit me up. We'll get you in, and as we grow, perhaps Inter 1 will become its own field. Inter 2 will throw some. We'll get some advanced in there. There's a bright future with slow motion broadcasting. Love you guys as always. So thank you very much, and we'll catch you next week.
Awesome, Jason. Good luck next week, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers, boys. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. That was the man, the myth, the legend, Jason, the Captain Cotcher, the kind of the leader in the SRG. And just in case you guys didn't know, in the San Jose area, we've got Sim Racing Group, brick and mortar store. They've got 10 units actually in their store, and that's where a good chunk of these guys are actually racing from. So if you guys are looking for any kind of fun, like up in the NorCal area, make sure you guys go check out Sim Racing Group. Here coming up on Slow Motion Broadcasting on Saturdays at 2:20 p.m. Eastern is the Ray Esports Formula V class. On Sundays at 12:45 p.m. is the Ray Esports Formula Fords. And then you've got the Spec Fords right behind them on Sundays at 2:45. On Tuesdays at 9:10 Eastern, American Muscle Series back on SMB. We're looking to see Randall back with us and looking for some great action with those guys. And then you got the doubleheader. You've got Wednesday Night Thunder. You've got Ray Esports Club Racing League. They're right now running the GT4 series at 8:30 Eastern. And then at 9:45 Eastern here on SMB, the SRG. They just watched it. The F4s running around. Next week is going to be another exciting week with these guys. Daniel, any closing thoughts? The chaos got really crazy there at the end.
Oh, you said it. I literally wrote chaos down in my notes through this race, and this SRG Intermediate League delivered on that for sure. It definitely led to some exciting racing there at the end. We got to see some close battles, and looking forward to another week on another European track that's high speed into slow speed, like Jason always says. So should be a good time.
Yeah, next week we will be at Brands Hatch, so that's going to be another exciting track for these guys. A lot of hard braking zones for these guys, so should lead to plenty of excitement. So wrap it up tonight in the production booth. We want to thank Adam Thompson for turning the cameras the right direction, and in the commentary booth, Daniel Hall. Always good to have you next to me, my friend. I am Mike Braun. We are going to sign off here on SMB, the SRG League from Zolder. Taking the win in the Alien class, Stephen Case. Varun Bali taking the win in Enter 1. Ope Oladipo being promoted into Inter 1 next week, so we'll see him next week. And we'll see you next week right here on SMB.